I'm Marshall McGarity,
And I'm Gunnar Gillum.
and this is our project on non-sensing drone delivery. After extensive research on non-sensing drone delivery, we found that Iceland has implemented drone technology with no imaging, radar, or anything else. All it uses is a predetermined GPS route. Now, this is one of the first drone delivery technologies that has been implemented all throughout the world. They have over 500 plus drone deliveries that are successful without any accidents. What they're delivering is hamburgers, believe it or not. Now, this runs about $7 for a delivery charge, and it gets to the route in 5 minutes versus 25 minutes by car. Now, why this is so successful is because people want hamburgers while they're hot. And you have to ask yourself, would you rather a 16-year-old driving a car in Iceland that might have missed some sleep the night before delivering your hamburger, or would you rather a 30-pound drone with a predetermined GPS route? And you have to keep in mind that Iceland, rules and regulations are far less stressful than the United States. The FAA, which is the Federal Aviation Administration, is sticking to a sense and avoid, drone in sight and flight height requirement, regulations to ensure maximum safety.
On a little more important note than getting your cheeseburger within 7 minutes, Rwanda has implemented a system due to their lack of infrastructure when it comes to their roadways. Their roads in general are mostly dirt roads, a lot of very cheaply built bridges going over rivers, and when they're in their very rainy season, a lot of these roads get washed out. They're too muddy to drive, and occasionally the bridges are completely taken away by the river. This isn't a big issue if you're just traveling around for shopping or something like that, but when you're trying to deliver blood transfusions or other highly important things, when it comes to saving someone's life, the road conditions can be the difference in life and death. A company called Zipline has implemented a system that's a fixed-wing drone, and essentially what it's doing is delivering boxes of blood for blood transfusions to different hospitals all around Rwanda. What happens is they have a headquarter base where they have all the different types of blood and drones set up, and there's an app. And the doctors throughout the country, if they need a blood transfusion, if they need the blood, they will place an order on the app. Within a few minutes, there's someone at the headquarters center putting that type of blood in the box. The location is already a predetermined path, and so they just download that path into the drone and send it off. There's no sensing technology on the drone. It's just that predetermined path, and all they're waiting on is the green light from the air traffic controller that's going to say there's no aircraft in the way, there's not going to be anything the drone runs into, and they'll send it off. It'll go straight to the hospital, drop the package with the blood, a small parachute will deploy, and it'll land somewhere near the hospital where a hospital employee has been trained to go outside, get the blood, bring it back in, and then do their best to save someone's life. At that point, a drone will make a 180-degree turn around, go back to the headquarters where it's caught in a big soft mat sort of setup. They'll switch out the batteries, and the drone will go back into the queue and wait for another delivery.
Now, in addition to this, we are starting to see the positive impacts and benefits that Rwanda has been reaped from this drone technology. And what the next plan is to implement this into America. So right now they are in the process of showing how effective this technology is, and how it can benefit all the different rural and suburban parts of the United States, and how people can get their blood diffusions in minutes versus traveling by car or however it may be, where it takes hours. As mentioned before, drone delivery for medical purposes looking to bring their services to the United States. Zipline drone delivery technology has had quite the success in Rwanda by saving thousands of lives over the past 2 years with the implementation of the new drone system. This drone system differs from the quadcopter drones with its aerodynamic design. It looks similar to a biplane, if you would, and the launch time with this new drone system has reduced from loading the blood, getting the order, sending the drone out from 10 minutes to 1 minute. So that's a huge improvement, and that can really matter when you're trying to save a life there. Now, in addition, the drone's top speed reaches 128 kilometers per hour, which is nearly 4 times as fast as the previous quadcopters used to deliver these blood services. The area of what the drone can reach and achieve is 200 times as large as what it could previously deliver blood to. In addition, their daily flight numbers has increased from 50 to 500 blood deliveries a day. And since 2016, Zipline now manages roughly 20% of the rural Rwanda's blood supply and has flown more than 300,000 kilometers worth of commercial deliveries, carrying about 7,000 units of blood. So, as one can see, Rwanda's healthcare system has benefited extraordinarily, from non-sensing drone delivery technology.
An issue in the U.S. is not really dirt roads and flooding and wiped out bridges when it comes to the rainy season, but rather the large amounts of traffic in cities. As most of us know, just going a matter of a few miles in a crowded city can take up to an hour or more. And when you've got important vital organs that need to be transferred from one hospital to another, an hour isn't really a viable option. Just a couple weeks ago, the University of Maryland Aerospace Engineering Department successfully flew their first kidney transplant by a drone. This is important because not only is it something that has never been done before, but vital organs outside of a host body are extremely sensitive to changes in temperature and also vibrations. And with different equipment on board to measure the temperature and vibrations, they were able to have smart thermostats which could regulate the temperature to the 10th of a degree correctly, so that it wasn't being swayed into higher temperatures from the heat of the motors or into lower temperatures from the wind as the drone was flying. And it also recorded less vibrations than a normal car would encounter, and also less than a fixed-wing aircraft would also encounter. This is important because usually when we think of drone delivery, we think of Amazon or fast food and getting food to your house and your new pair of shoes dropped at your front door as soon as possible. But the problem with that is we've got hundreds of thousands of different warehouses and shipping facilities and millions of houses across the country. But if you're talking about hospitals in one city, you're usually looking at just a handful of them. So rather than mapping out millions of different delivery routes and dealing with all that different red tape and issues associated with it, you're now looking at mapping out just a handful, maybe up to a dozen different drone delivery routes in a given city. So this is something that could potentially be used in the cities across America in the coming years, and hopefully we'll be able to save many lives due to its close proximity and quicker range in delivering these organs.
In conclusion, non-sensing drones have reaped many benefits throughout the implementation of the technology. While there have been, hundreds of warm hamburgers delivered, there's also been thousands of lives saved. Throughout our research, there has been no negative side effects to non-sensing drone delivery.
Most people, when they hear drone deliveries, think of ways that the drones are going to have to avoid buildings, aircrafts, power lines, trees, and things of this nature. We think that it's going to be a better and more viable option to pre-certify these flight paths and have drones that are just going from A to B with the GPS coordinates in a straight line, rather than having to build a drone that's going to be 100% accurate in avoiding all these different types of obstacles up in the air. While this may limit the amount of deliveries and locations that it can deliver to, it's going to be something that's able to put the drone delivery technology into production a lot sooner than if we're going to avoid everything out there. We've been referring to the shortest distance from A to B for centuries as the crow flies. Maybe now we can start using that distance with the drone and call it as the drone flies.